Hello and welcome to Stalking the Wild Autoharp. And I promise you that in a few weeks we are going to get back to actually looking at autoharps in the video and not just piano keyboard. But because I'm teaching music theory for the next few weeks, I want to just show you the piano keyboard so that I can spell some things out and you can see them more clearly than you can see them on the autoharp. And this week we're going to talk about the circle of fifths, which is a huge important issue with the autoharp, because this is the explanation of why your autoharp buttons are laid out in non-alphabetical order. Somebody once handed me his autoharp to work on, and it started at one end. He had the A major chord, and then the A minor chord, and the A flat chord, and the A7 chord. And then he had the B chord, and the B minor chord, and the B flat, and the B flat 7. And then he had the C, and the C minor. And it was no wonder that he could not figure out how to play his autoharp. And he said, well, but it makes more sense that way. Well, it might make alphabetical sense, or it might make sense if you were writing words. But when you're writing musical notes, things tend to work differently, okay? And they work in the circle of fifths. So to help with that, I have drawn a chart, okay? And if I was better at computer graphics, I could do this as an overlay on the screen, but this is a less is more kind of approach, okay? And so I've drawn this circle with 12 points on it, and this half of it looks like a clock. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. We get down to 6, but then it starts running backwards, okay? And I'm going to show you why, okay? We're going to start with our key of C up here, all right? And key of C is like 0, because it has 0 black notes, and it uses 0 sharps and flats to play it. This is called the key of C because it starts on C and it ends on C, okay? And I used no black notes. But remember that my pattern, and I taught this a few weeks ago, my pattern goes whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. And I hope you can see that on the screen. Whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step. And I taught this, and then this is why I taught it, because I was leading up to this. All right? Remember that a whole step is any two notes that have one note in between. Like these two has this note in between. These two has this note in between. So that's a whole step. A half step has no notes in between, like this and this. And so a major scale, to follow the pattern, goes whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. And you can see that pattern of whole steps in the black notes, because these are the in-between notes. And remember, we had 2 whole steps, and we have 2 black notes. And then we have 3 whole steps, and we have 3 black notes. All right? But if you want to if you want to have a major scale on any other note besides C, you got to use a black note, at least one. And the scale that uses only one is 5 notes up from C. This is why 5 is so important in music. All right, 5 notes up from C, we have a major scale that uses 1 black note. Remember, it's got to go whole step, half step, whole step, half step. So let's test it out. Whole step, half step. Whole step, whole step, half step. So we have a scale that's got 1 sharp, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. And we wouldn't call this G flat, because then you'd have 2 Gs. You'd have a G flat and a G. We want 1 note in every scale that starts with one of the letters. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. So 5 up from C, we have a G. And that has 1 sharp. This symbol, by the way, that looks like a tic-tac-toe board or a sharp or a pound sign, is called a sharp. All right, and you don't really need to know that unless you're writing music down or reading music, which is something that you're going to come across all the time. Even if you don't read music, you're going to come across this symbol and be expected to know it's a sharp. It's even printed on your Autoharp up by the pegs. All right. So 5 up from G, we have a major scale that starts, and it has 2 black notes in it. All right. 5 up from G, G, D, E, C, G, A, B, C, D. All right. So we're going to start a major scale starting on D, and we're going to use 2 black notes. And we have to follow this pattern, remember. So we go whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. So now we've got F sharp and C sharp, which is 2 sharps, and we've got the key of D, because we made a D scale from D to D, and we used 2 sharps, which were, this one had F sharp, this one has F sharp and C sharp. Now what about 3? 3 sharps. We go up 5 from D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to make a scale starting on A. And it's going to have 3 sharps, starting with F sharp and C sharp. And we're going to add another one. I wonder which one it's going to be. Let's make it here and find out. I'll do it here. A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. So we added a G sharp that time. Okay? Of our 3 sharps, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp. All right? And so it goes on around the circle. Okay? The next key is E, because that's 5 up from A. And it's got 4 sharps. F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp. All right? And so on around it goes. All right? Now, remember I said that the numbers start going down on this side. That's because when we get to this point, we start using flats. And we start subtracting flats from it. Okay? We start with 5. We start with 6 flats, 5 flats, 4 flats, 3 flats, 2 flats, 1 flat. Okay? Now, in the interest of keeping this Autoharp friendly, we don't really deal with these keys that are down here too much on standard Autoharps or very common Autoharps at all. So I'm going to let you fill those in, okay? But we're going to start over here with 3 flats, okay? 3 flats, which is the key of E flat. Okay, and we have the key of B flat, the B flat, the E flat, and the A flat. Okay, 3 flats. Okay, then 5 up from E flat is B flat. All right, and we have 2 flats, which are B flat and E flat. All right, and I'll show you 2 flats. We're going to start with B flat. We're going to go up to B flat. All right, 2 flats. All right, because we had to keep the whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. All right, subtract a flat and we get the key of F, which is 5 up from B flat. All right, and it has 1 flat, which is B flat. All right, and then we subtract that flat and we're back to 0 again. And so we've gone around a complete circle and come back to 0 once again. So that's why it's called the circle of fifths, and that is why your Autoharp uses notes or chords that are 5 apart from each other instead of just the very next letter and going in alphabetical order. And notice that, for example, if you play the key of C, you're going to have your fingers on C, G, and F on your Autoharp. If you're going to play the key of G, you're going to have your fingers on G, C, and D. All right? D being the 5th of G. Okay? You shift over 1. What was your 5th now becomes your 1. And this is now the 5, the A, and the G is now the 4. You shift over again to key of A. This is now your 1. This is your 5, and this is your 4. All right? Now, Autoharps are built typically with key of C right in the middle. Okay? And then G and F on either side of it. Okay? And then D and B flat. Some harps go to A and E flat. Sometimes you see E. You rarely see key of B. Sometimes you see it. Even less often the key of F sharp. Okay? Or the key of A flat, D flat. You don't really see these keys on too many Autoharps unless they're set up for hymns or something like that. But this is the circle of fifths, and that's the reason that you have those groups of 3 chords that stand a 5th apart from each other. All right? So, that's the circle of fifths. That's why you need to know it. And there's an order to these sharps and flats. All right? And you can come up with a rhyme or something to say to help you remember F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, which is the order that they get added in. F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, etc., etc. And also on this side, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat. There's an order to that. I was taught Father Christmas gets drunk and eats buns. Or British European Airways drives grounded comets fast. So you can tell that it was a Scotsman who taught me how to do that. But this is the circle of fifths. This is why half steps and whole steps are so important, and this is why knowing what a 5th is so important, and that is key root material for your Autoharp playing. And each one of these keys has a minor chord that's built on the 6th. For example, key of C has an A minor that shares the same number of sharps and flats. All right, so you play an A minor scale, which is 6 up from the root. 3, 4, 5, 6. The relative minor. Remember I taught that last week. All right, so you have a minor scale that also has no sharps and flats. And G major shares E minor, which is 6 up from the root. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. E minor. And it has 1 sharp. And so on around. I'm not going to keep you any longer, but E minor, okay, D has the key of B minor, Okay, A has the key of F sharp minor, and so on around in the relative minor position. And it's called relative because the key of A major with 3 sharps will also give you F sharp minor if you play it from F sharp to F sharp. All right? So I hope that doesn't confuse you too much. This is a lot of information to take in, but once you get it, you will understand your Autoharp and its layout a lot better. So I'm Hal Weeks. This has been Stalking the Wild Autoharp, Special Theory Edition, and I don't know what I'm going to do next week. You know, it's going to be theory for another couple of weeks here. I want to get into some other chords like 7th chords. That's kind of important. I'll probably do 7th chords next week, talking about dominant 7ths. So hang around for next week. We'll talk about 7ths. And tune in weekly for this. Subscribe so that you get it. And you can check out my website where I talk about the Skype lessons that I give online to Autoharpists. And I've got a good number of those students now. And they are, I'm adding new students every week. So you might want to get in while there's still space. And I have a website, halweeks.com. All of this is summed up on the website. The videos aren't, but my lessons are. And you can learn about those there. All right, so if you can't tell that I'm winging it all the time, and hope you're winging it too, and hope you pick up your Autoharp and wing it some more, and we'll see you next week on Stalking the Wild Autoharp.